Hi, Rose. And where's Tali? Was this there? Where's Tali? Hi, Tali. I made you co-host, okay? Tali? So you can admit people. Check the participant thing all the time and see when he's waiting. I'm gonna put up something on my screen real fast. Just to review, where are we here? We need a Tanakh. We need Neviim. Neviim bet. Hey. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen for a second, and we'll wait for people to come online and stuff. But while you're waiting, just review these psukim from the end of Divrei from Pasuk Yotet, about the end of Yoshia's life. Some Pasuk Yotet, everything on the screen. Just review that, and we'll start in a couple minutes. It's the last thing we did. Just want to review that. Okay, I'll stop the share for a minute, and we'll get started. How are we doing? 1 second. Okay. Marina, how things doing in Strasbourg?
They're good. They're good.
Getting
We're
better?
able to walk freely.
And no more people getting sick?
We're waiting to see. We were in lockdown until Monday, so we have to wait like a week or two. But the weather's keeping us home these days. So
Too hot or too cold?
too cold.
Here we have, it's going to be 100 degrees on Shabbat. Today's like 95, 96.
If it gets people to stay home, might be good.
Yeah. Okay. And the rest of the country? Tina, I know I got the update from TDEC and stuff, so I know what's going on there. And that's where everyone else is from, I think, right? Pretty much. New York. Riverdale, nothing opened up yet, right? Tali?
No, and it's probably not going to be opening too soon.
Okay. People are getting depressed already?
I mean, it's okay, but it's just hard because we're in this for the long haul. We're probably looking at college online in the fall and stuff. It's just.
A friend of mine, is Rabbi Saif, has this, the guy who runs TVA. He came up with a great idea for next year. for kids who are like doing college in America. He says almost all top universities are going to do, at least fall semester, are going to be online because they don't. It's too hard to open up campuses and everything, and they can do almost everything online anyhow. So they're going to open up almost all the programs online. And he said what we could do is people could go to college next year, do college online, and spend a year in Israel. We'll make a program where that we have the Avirah of Israel and the learning of thing and part-time learning, but have like a nice cover. Isn't that a great idea? If that works, that could be a model like for imagine doing like 4 or 5 years, like you can do like your whole college age group. From age 18 to 22, you can do in Israel doing college back and forth a little bit. But it'll come out a lot cheaper also.
Why you won't survive it?
Why you won't like it? Yeah, I'm talking about for real colleges. Tali, you're going to Stern, right, Tali? No? You're going to real college?
No, I'm going to Macaulay at Queens.
Okay. Oh, this is tape. That's not good. No one listens to this. Okay, so we're going to start. We're waiting for, I guess, whoever came. Oh, wait, Leia's coming. Now we can start. Okay. Leia, we didn't start yet. We were waiting for you. Okay? Where's Leia? Now you're here. We can start. So today we're going to do the fun part of Sif, not fun, like the main part of Yirmiyahu. What we did last week was historical background. If I remember correctly, we talked about Yoshiel, his big return, the big tshuva, and the end of Beit Rishon, the beginning of Beit Sheni. Did we do Perek Zayin next week or not? We did do, right? We just did. We did Yirmiyahu's. We did Yoshiel's. We ended with Yoshiel dying in Megiddo, I think, didn't we? And we talked about this big tshuva movement going on. And we have, but I want to, let me just get to I'll just spill the beans in the beginning and then we'll get to see things inside. What I tried to explain is there's a political reason for the religious reform. Yoshiel's religious reform coincides with the fall of Ashur, who was our big arch enemy, before the rise of Babel. And because for the first time in Israel's history in over 100 years, we're free again. We're not under any foreign power. The menace of Ashur is pretty much gone. They're falling apart and they're stuck in their own wars. And there's a big war in general for the Middle East. And that's the battle that will be in Karkamish that Yoshiel's getting involved in. But during Yoshiel's reign, we have Shivat Zion, we have exiles returning. We have the economy growing leaps and bounds, our borders growing leaps and bounds. And we have a lot of archaeological evidence of that as well. So with that return to freedom, pretty much, is going to be a rise in nationalism. And with that nationalism comes religion as well. And Yoshiel pretty much, or maybe with Yirmiyahu, was taking sort of a ride on that nationalism and return to Judaism and return to independence and put God into the picture also. And therefore, people buy into it. It's wonderful because it's nice. The only reason people followed the Assyrian gods was because Assyria was a superpower. But once Syria's not a superpower anymore, who needs their gods? But everyone has to have some god. So now the God of Israel is their God. And that's why Yoshiel tries to do that big tshuva movement. But Chuda already sees, we saw last week, that something's missing there. He says, Yoshiel, you're okay, but the people, it's just not really sincere. And Yoshiel tries to make it more sincere. Yeah, that was the religious side. Today we're going to get to the political side behind it. Behind this is when things are going good, and there's nationalism and religion, and your economy is growing, and your security is good, and you're winning wars and things like that, then of course you'll continue to be religious because it's working. What happens when you are religious and you lose a military battle, or there's a drought, or economy goes bad? What are you going to do? Hey, what's the point in being religious if God's not helping us? And that's always the big question, which we're going to talk about, or related to Parshat Shavuot somehow. Is God working for you, or are you working for God? And the story which we ended with last week, when Yoshiel goes to war against Paro Necho, remember Paro Necho was marching through Middle East on his way to attack Ashur, trying to take over control of the Middle East. In the middle of all that, he, what's his name? Yoshiel goes to meet him at Megiddo, and he's totally outnumbered and wiped out. What was Yoshiel thinking? So the Chazal say beautifully, Yoshiel read this week's Parsha. We're going to read right now. I'll show you what Chazal say. what he was reading. I'll share my screen. Open up Parshat B'chukotai. And what happens if we keep God's laws? I'll use my big Tanakh. You know what? I'm using a different Tanakh. This one's, I don't, not because I need the English, but because it's easier to, no, actually, I want Jeremiah 7. I'll leave that open. Use this Tanakh for now. We want Vayikra and Perek Chavav. What's God say? Im b'chukotai telechu. Oh, wrong way. If you follow my laws and keep my commandments, what will happen? Your economy will be good, agriculture. What will happen? No big armies are going to run through your country. You'll defeat your enemies. And then those are the big things of the Brit. And if you don't listen, things will go bad. Now, if you're sure, if the people are sure that this is a messianic time period and we're keeping God's laws, what can they expect? We can go to battle and God will help us. And the people are sure they're deserving of God's help. No. What's leading, according to Chazal, what's motivating Yoshio to go to war is the fact that, hey, this is a messianic time period. We're the biggest army now in the Middle East. We're great. God's with us. And we can take on a superpower because no one can beat our army. And he's sure that God will be on their side. Sure enough, what happened? This great religious king, Yoshio, he dies in battle. We read that, didn't we? And his son, his kids will take over. But that defeat of Yoshio, pretend you were a member of the nation that time. You go to war, everyone's excited. Not only do you lose the battle, your army gets wiped out and your king is killed. And he's a big religious king. So people sort of don't take the religion serious anymore. And Yoakim will be angry with God. And then, if God's not paying the bills, who needs him? And what's going to happen during Yoakim's reign, he's the one who follows Yoshio, we're going to find a return to idol worship and a return to, not total idol worship, but a lack of sincerity when you're following God. Now, what's going to happen at that time, some people are going to say, why serve God? He doesn't help us. Other people are going to say, you know what, we're not serving him hard enough. We have to try harder. And those are going to be the Nevi'ei Sheker. What we're going to find now, during the reign of Yoakim, when things start getting bad after Yoshio dies, there'll be one group of people who say they've had it with God, and they're going to follow other gods. Our God's not working for us, we'll go follow other gods. Those would be idol worshippers. But there'll be a lot of religious people who are going to say, you know what we need to do? We didn't serve God strong enough. We have to pray harder. We have to bring more korbanot. And there's going to be a lot of prophets who Yirmiyahu's colleagues, but we'll see his adversaries in a minute, who are going to encourage the people, the main thing you need to do is daven harder, keep more mitzvot. And then things will get better again. And then there's good old Yirmiyahu we're going to read about today. Guess what he's going to say? It's not the korbanot that you need and not the prayer, but rather, just like Yeshayahu, but we have to improve your society. And he's going to claim the reason why things went bad during Yoshio, because it wasn't really a messianic time period, because even though your Mikdash was built, your behavior still wasn't good enough. And now in the time of Yoshio, in time of Yoakim, he's going to do the same, he's going to give the same speech. So we're going to pick up now from Perek Zayin. Again, I wish we had time to do everything beforehand, but Perek Zayin is like the best Perek there is. So we'll just take that one. And it's a typical example of Yirmiyahu giving Musar to people going to Shul. He's not giving Musar to people who are idol worshippers. He's yelling at people who are in the Beit HaMikdash, praying to God, asking God to save them. So we're going to pick up now. 1 second, share screen. Share screen, Yirmiyahu Perek Zayin. I'll open up for all of us here. And who's going to read today? I don't see you guys now, so you tell me who's going to read. There we are. Volunteer? I thought of calling somebody. Mayan, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, take away Mayan.
Oh, I'm reading myself. Hadavar asher haya el Yirmiyahu me'et Hashem lemor, amod b'sha'ar beit Hashem, v'karat Hashem et hadavar hazeh, v'amarta Shim'u davar Hashem, kol Yehuda haba'im b'sha'arim ha'ila lishtachavot laHashem. Ko amar Hashem tzvakot Elokei Yisrael, hitivu darchechem uma'alechem, v'ashkana etchem b'makom hazeh. Al tiftechu lachem el divrei hashaker lemor. Heichal Hashem, Heichal Hashem, Heichal Hashem Hema. Ki im heitivu et darchechem ve'et ma'alelechem, im aso ta'asu mishpat bein ish u'bein re'ehu. Ger yatom va'almana lo ta'ashoku, v'dam naki al tishpachu b'makom hazeh. V'achrei elokim acherim lo tilchu l'ra alachem. V'shikanti etchem. Should I stop there?
No, finish one more line.
V'shikanti etchem b'makom hazeh ba'aretz asher natati lavotichem l'min olam v'ad olam.
Stop there. Min olam v'ad olam means forever. Not this road to the road to come, but rather in Tzach, olam is always forever. Even the English got it right this time. Now, what's he saying? God is telling Yirmiyahu, go to the Beit HaMikdash, talk to people who are coming, Dishtachavot Hashem, to pray to God, and tell them, don't put your own trust on the Divrei HaSheker. We'll prove later on, Divrei HaSheker means the words and the admonitions of the false prophets, Neviim HaSheker. But these Neviim HaSheker are not Neviim telling the people to serve other gods. They're God's Neviim. They're telling the people, giving them religious advice, telling them if you want Hashem to help you, you need to daven harder and bring more korbanot. And everything is about Heichal Hashem. God wants you to come visit him, to feed him in the temple, the whole thing. And everything is Heichal centered. We have to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash. Then it was built. We have to come and strengthen the Beit HaMikdash and pray here and daven here, and have more prayer services and more sacrifices. Yirmiyahu is saying, don't put your trust on that message, because that's not enough. The main thing you need to do is fix your ways. Then all the stuff we saw in Yishayahu came, taking care of good old social justice. And if you do that, then you can dwell on the land forever. What's that imply? If you don't do that, I'm going to throw you out. Now, what I was claiming is, even though Yoshua was able to put off that Gzar Din for the time of Menashe, now that Nabi's threatening, that Gzar Din is still lurking in the background. And if you don't improve your society, it can get worse again. Now, it started getting bad when Yoshua was killed in battle, and he's warning it can get worse. The question is, what's going to make it better? Will it be turning to other gods? Will it be turning to our God in prayer, or fixing your society? And Yirmiyahu is a lone voice saying it's about fixing your society. The people on the other hand, putting all their trust in the false prophets. 2 more lines now.
Can I ask a question?
He's free.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
The mitzvot, have a moral society within the mitzvot. So if they thought that they were keeping the mitzvot, then wouldn't they be having a moral society? I don't get how they can think that they're worthy of a messianic time period, meaning that they would be keeping the mitzvot, but also not have an ethical society at the same time.
You, but that's how most people are even to this day, right? If something's bad in the country, if there's war, everyone says, no one goes and says we have to be kinder to the poor and the needy and be kind to one another, not to lie and be in justice and thing. Adrabah. We gather at the Kotel and we add another Avinu Malkeinu, and we add another, when we take on Tani Stibor, we're not going to talk on shul and things like that. But almost no one will pick up and say, oh, we have to fix our society. No one says it's a bad idea, but no one ties that. In most religions, people tie God, they believe in God. God can help you win wars and help you keep healthy in pursuit of happiness. But it's a function of your prayers. That's how almost religion is taught everywhere, isn't it? And it's taught that way, and there's something to it. But when you don't understand what prayer is about, it can lead to a terrible misunderstanding that all God wants is prayer. I'm going to bring an example from Parshat Vayikra, from Parshat Shavuot in 10 minutes. But let Yirmiyahu say better. This is what Yirmiyahu is complaining about what they're doing.
Can I ask you something as well?
Sure.
When are you assuming this is happening exactly? Right after Yoshiyahu died?
we're going to prove this is happening in the 3rd or 4th year of Yoakim, like 3-4 years after Yoshio dies.
Okay.
We're going to prove it because we're going to see that Perek Chavav in Yirmiyahu is the exact same Devuah, and there we have a date stamp. There's no date stamp in Perek Zayin, but we'll prove it from later on. Why there's no date stamp, that's a whole different share. Now, again, we're going to prove this is 4th year of Yoakim, and that'll put the icing on the cake. So go back now to Mayan, continue, and then we'll pick up from here.
הנה אתם פותחים לכם על דברי השקר לבלתי ההועיל. הגנוב רוצח ונאוב והישבע לשקר וכתר לבעל והלוך אחרי אלוהים אחרים אשר לא ידעתם. ובאתם ועמדתם לפני בבית הזה אשר נקרא שמי עליו ואמרתם ניצלנו למען לעשות את כל התועבות האלה.
What are you doing? Okay. You're putting all your faith in these divrei sheker of Heichal Hashem, Heichal Hashem, which means come and daven to the Mikdash. But the people coming to the Mikdash, before they come, what are they doing? They're killing, they're stealing, they're adultery, swearing falsely. And we'll talk about Kater Labal in a minute, and following other gods that you don't know. Now, Pasuk Tet, where's it coming from? I'm sure you catch on to it. Where's Pasuk Tet? What's Pasuk Tet plagiarizing?
The second half of the Debrot.
Exactly. The second half of the start of the Debrot. It's not by chance he's starting from there and not from keeping Shabbat and Kibbutz Horim and things like that. He's talking about Beinon Chaver laws. He ends with Kater Labal. We'll deal with Kater Labal later on. But you're acting that way at home, and then you come in front of me to the house that's associated with my name, and you're saying, "Oh, I'm safe now. I'm safe," so you can continue this bad behavior. You see the people's attitude? They think that all they need to do is come to God's house and pray, and that'll save them, no matter how bad their behavior is at home. They know they're evil, but that's not what's going to affect God's behavior. Is your prayer and not your actions. It's a classic misunderstanding of religion, and I know it doesn't make sense, but you have it to this very day. Then he compares what the Beis HaMikdash looks like. He says, "Hamarat peritzima avat hazeh asher nikra shmei alav." Associating God's name and reputation all the time. That thing we talked about all year long in Chumash. This house of God looks like a hangout for criminals. And God says, "I see what's going on here." And then God's saying, if you're coming to my house to pray to me, but your actions are not deserving of my help, why should I listen to you? Adrabi says, who needs you here? It's the same thing. It's the same thing we saw in Yeshayahu. Now, this is going to be something new now. He's going to bring a better proof that bring sacrifices is not enough. Okay. Kiluchuna, now continue with Pasuk Yibet.
ילכו נא אל מקומי אשר בשילה אשר שיכנתי שמי שם בראש שנה ראו את אשר עשיתי לו מפני רעתם מישראל. ועתה יענה.
Okay. He's saying, you want a proof that korbanot is not enough? Just go to God's house in Shiloh and remember it was destroyed. And why? Because of their bad behavior. Who remembers why Shiloh was destroyed? Anyone remember? First of all, when was Shiloh destroyed? You don't remember that? Nobody? When was the Aron taken captive? Yeah. No, speak up that.
During Shoftim in a war against the Plishtim.
When Eli was the Kohen Gadol.
Yeah, Eli was the Kohen Gadol, but he was an old man already. His sons, he was the old chief rabbi, but his sons became the new chief rabbis, Chofni and Pinchas. They were corrupt, remember? They were bringing korbanot in the Mikdash, but they were mistreating the women. Remember that little scandal that was going on? And they only cared about the food and didn't do the job right. And they said they will say they lo yadu et Hashem. They didn't know God. We'll talk about knowing God, and Yirmiyahu is going to talk about that soon. But it's because of their bad behavior. Not Shiloh was destroyed. God allowed the Plishtim to defeat them, not because they weren't bringing korbanot, but because they were bringing korbanot, but they were corrupt. Now, again, there was an example of they went to war, and God did not help them in war. They lost the war with the Plishtim, and God allowed them to take the Aron captive. Because they brought the Aron to war with them, thinking God will help them. God's saying, why should I help you if your chief rabbis are acting the way they are? And we saw all the other stories in the end of Sefer Shoftim about how bad their behavior was. We saw the Pedlegish Begiva story, and we saw the what's the other story? There was Pesach Micha story. So that's what Yirmiyahu was telling them. Just like Shiloh was destroyed, and guess what he's going to threaten now? Now comes the big threat, and this is something.
Wait.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just don't remember. Where does it say Shiloh was destroyed? The fact that the Aron was taken, yeah, but Shiloh destroyed?
And you're right. In Sefer Shmuel, it doesn't say Shiloh was destroyed, but we never hear about it again in Shmuel. We find the Mishkan a couple years later in Novi Kohanim. So we know the Mishkan is gone. And we know from Yirmiyahu it was destroyed. We'll see in a minute.
Okay.
Now, the source, it's not explicit in Shmuel. It's explicit. It's implicit, not explicit. But it's clear from Yirmiyahu that that's when it was destroyed. Got it? No,
But it's not wrong that we didn't know where it says it.
In the end of Sefer Shoftim, and in the beginning of Sefer Shmuel, it's gone. By the time Shaul is king, it's gone. Agreed? Because the Mishkan is in Novi Kohanim when Shaul is king. And we know the Plishtim won the battle, and we know they took their own captive. So it makes sense if they took their own captive, they must have destroyed the Mishkan in Shiloh as well.
But we know Eli's, because we know Eli's in Shiloh when the Aaron is taken captive, because he hears the news, right? There's someone who runs, he's in Shiloh, so we don't know that the battle went all the way there.
But within the next year or two, they destroyed the city, that's for sure.
Okay.
Now, just a little, were you guys on the Teal to Shiloh sometime during last year? You never went to Shiloh on the Teal? Never? No one ever went to.
We were supposed to, but the plans got changed a little bit.
So funny because they have a movie there, one of these right-wing movies about how important Shiloh is. So the end of the movie, which is like a line, "Come visit me in Shiloh." Like this is like this greatest place here, Shiloh. It's one of these in all the West Bank settlements. They have all the movies, like also near David. They always have these right-wing overtones. So and the irony of all of them here. Let me share my screen again. The last line in the movie. Wait a second, yeah. The last line in the movie is this line. And that's it. They quote half the pasuk, and they say basically, come here and visit again, because they're saying this is a place where the Mishkan stood, this place where the Shekhinah was. Come here, and build up Shiloh, and take over the whole West Bank kind of stuff, because this is where our roots were. Okay? But what did they say? And go remember how I destroyed you because of your bad behavior. That they don't quote. Okay? They says, I tell you, and I spoke to you and you didn't listen. Now, I'll just read Pasuk Gedalad. Basiti l'bayit asher nikrash mi alav. Over and over again. See that? Habayit asher nikrash mi alav. That's what's bothering God. This house is associated with God's name and reputation. The people serving God can't make God look bad. Because that's how you're acting, you're putting all your hope in the house. I'm going to kick you out like I kicked out Ephraim, and this house will be destroyed. Just like Shiloh was destroyed, God's house can be destroyed. Understand? Now, we'll see in a minute, the other prophets are going to say, how can you possibly say God's house would be destroyed? Impossible. They're going to call Yirmiyahu a heretic for giving this nevuah. It's like saying nowadays there could be a Churban Shlishi. No, that can't be. Every religious science to tell you, they'll tell you the famous Ramban in this week's Parsha that there's only 2 Churbans and that's it. And the next one will be the final Gula. You know the famous Ramban in this week's Parsha? He says the first Tochacha is by Rishon, second Tochacha is by Sheni, and don't need a third Tochacha because when we come back the third time, it'll be forever. Not everyone agrees with them, but all religious Zionists build their hashkafa on that. Now, then he says, don't pray to them. I'm not listening. Atif Gabi, that's also tefillah. And then he goes about not only in the Mikdash, over the hills of Yehuda, they're also doing avodah zarah as well, and getting me angry. Remember, that's the other group. Now, and therefore God says, I'm going to bring korban. Now, pick up now Mayan from Pasuk Chaf Aleph. This will take us to Parshat Shavua, and this is everything I've been talking about. Okay, read Chavadla first.
Kol amar Hashem tzvakot Elokei Yisrael, alotechem safu al zvechem v'ichlu basar.
Who can explain? Stop here, stop. Who can explain that pasuk? Safu means add on, like losif. Okay? Add your burnt offerings to your sacrifice. This is a terrible translation. You understand why? What's the difference between burnt offerings and sacrifices? You have to know the laws. An olah is totally consumed on the mizbeach. A shlamim, a zevach, is eaten by the people. That's a shlamim. What's God saying? Don't bring me a korban olah. I don't need it. Make it already a shlamim. Because I don't need the meat. You might as well eat the meat. He's saying basically is, I don't need your meat. But I said before, God's saying, I don't need you to feed me. Now continue, Chapet. Kidlom.
Kilo dibarti et avotechem velo tzivitim b'yom hotzio tamei eretz Mitzrayim al divrei olah v'zevach.
No. This is a rough question because on the day we left Egypt, we brought Korban Pesach, didn't we? But all through Yirmiyahu, the day b'yom hotzio tamei eretz Mitzrayim doesn't mean the day of the Exodus. It means Matan Torah. We'll see this over and over again, and we'll prove it. But the day that took you out of Egypt means the time period that took you out of Egypt is going to refer to Mount Har Sinai, and we'll prove that in a minute now. Al divrei olah v'zavach, that's Parsha Vayikra, isn't it? Remember Parsha Vayikra? Vayikra begins with Korban Nedava. It's Olah Mincha Shlamim. God said, I didn't take you out of Egypt so you can come and feed me korbanot. If you want to come and visit me to remember why you're chosen, that's fine. Don't come empty-handed. But I didn't choose you because I need to be fed. What did I tell you? Yeah, read Chavkevo now. Ki?
Ki im et hadavar hazeh tiviti otam limor shemu b'koli v'hayiti lachem l'Elohim v'atem tiyu li la'am v'halachtem b'chol hadarach asher atzaveh etchem l'man yitiv lachem.
That's Matan Torah. Remember? Remember the proposition? Mishma tishma b'koli u'shmartem et briti v'tim skulam b'kol amim v'atem tiyu li mamlechet kohanim b'kol kadosh. And that's we'll see all these phrases. We saw this in Parsha B'chuktai also, didn't we? That's the phrase of Brit Sinai all the time. It's Brit Milah and Brit Sinai. And follow the Kol HaDerech, remember? V'shomru HaDerech Hashem L'sos Tzedakah Mishpat, which I'm commanding you, so I'll be good to you. V'lo shemu v'lo tuos nam, and they've went their evil ways. Okay. Now we continue. There are two more lines. Binayom.
L'min hayom asher yatzu avotechem me'eretz Mitzrayim ad hayom hazeh v'ashach alechem et kol avdei haneviim yom hashkim v'shalach v'lo shamu elai v'lo hitu et aznam v'yakshu et arpam hirayu v'me'avotam.
I've been warning you, you don't get it. Now you see the problem? They're bringing korbanot, they're praying to God, but their behavior is still a disaster. And God warns them, if you don't improve your behavior, you're finished. Okay, it sounds just like Yeshayahu, but of course it's the same. They're all prophets and they're true prophets. But they're fighting an age-old problem that we have to this day, where people believe in God, but God's working for them, and the way you get God on your side is like a vending machine. Say the right pasuk, say the right prayer, bring the proper korban, and God will be on your side, as though God wants to be fed. And God's saying, you come to the Mikdash to pray and remember why you're chosen, but the way you serve God is not by how you feed Him, but by how you behave. That's what Yirmiyahu is screaming, the same thing that all the prophets were screaming. Now, so far Yirmiyahu is like every other prophet. First, let's get the date here. The date is right here. Go to Perek Chavav. Go back to Yirmiyahu Perek Chavav. And who's going to take over reading? New reader. Chavav, chapter 20.
I can read.
Okay, take it away, chapter 26.
Okay.
And as you're reading, if there's a phrase there that sounds like Perek Zion, make note of it, okay? Or anyone can make note. If there's anything that we're reading now that sounds like Perek Zion that we just read, let me know. But here we have a date. Got it? Reshit Mamlechet Yoakim ben Yoshio.
Bereshit.
I'm sorry.
No.
Early in the reign of Yehoiakim ben Yoshio. It's after Yoshio dies, soon after his death. Okay, continue.
Breshit Mamlech Yehoyakim ben Yoshiyahu Melech Yehuda Hayaha Devar Hazem Et Hashem Lemar Ko Amar Hashem Omed Bechatzer Beit Hashem V'dibarta Al Kol Arei Yehuda Habaim Lehishtachavot Beit Hashem. So we saw this. Et Kol Hadvarim Asher Tiviticha Ledaver Alayhem Al Tigra Davar.
Sounds familiar?
Yes.
Okay, so far something okay. Ulai?
Ulai yishma'u v'yashuvu ish midarko hara'a v'nichamti el hara'a asher anochi choshev lasot lahem mipnei ro'a ma'ala lehem. V'amarta alahem ko amar Hashem im lo tishma'u elai lelecha b'torati asher natati lifanechem lishmoa al divrei avadi haneviim asher anochi sholech alehem v'hashkem v'shalach lo shematem. V'natati et habayit hazeh kishilo, ve'et ha'ir hazot eten lekalkala lekol goyei haaretz.
That's bingo now. Isn't that a perfect match?
Yeah.
This is the threat that I'm going to destroy, that this house, if you don't listen to me, this house would be like Shiloh. Now, it could be said this many times. I want to prove to you this is the same time. We'll see what's going to happen now. This is Nevuah Yirmiyahu can only give once. So this is Nevuah, which is given Rishitim Yehoyakim. Listen to what happened when he gave this Nevuah.
Vayishmeu hakohanim v'haneviim v'kol ha'am et Yirmiyahu midaber et hadvarim ha'ela b'beit Hashem. Vayehi kechalot Yirmiyahu ledaber et kol asher tiva Hashem ledaber el kol ha'am v'yitpishu oto hakohanim v'haneviim v'kol ha'am lemor mot tamut.
They catch him, right? They hold on to him. So they arrest him, basically. Who arrests him? The Kohanim and Neviim. That's the religious establishment. That's the established rabbinate in the Beit HaMikdash. They take Yirmiyahu, this crazy left-wing prophet, and they say, we're going to put you to death. He's for his heresy. What's his heresy? Madua? Continue.
Madua Nevit b'shem Hashem lemor kishilo yihya habayit hazeh v'ha'ir hazot techarev me'en yoshev v'kahel kol ha'am el Yirmiyahu b'beit Hashem v'yishmeu.
Anyway, saying something like this, got it? They want to kill Yirmiyahu for bringing up the possibility that God's house can be destroyed. You're ruining the religion. You're going to ruin people's belief. And how could it be that God's house is destroyed? We're God's people forever. Remember, we have a promise that we're always God's people. And we're God's people forever. And Jerusalem is God's city forever. And this is his temple. If God's the eternal God and the only God, then how could God's house possibly be destroyed? Now, if you ever learn Sefer Melachim, when Shlomo builds the Beit HaMikdash, God reminds him over and over again, nothing's permanent because it's contingent on your behavior. But in the meantime, for the last 400 years, it's never been destroyed. An enemy. And therefore, if he's predicting that Jerusalem will be destroyed by an outside enemy, that's heresy. If you wanted to say, keep Shabbos, keep kosher, that's something else. But to say the guy's house could be destroyed, that was too far. And guess what? They're going to put him on trial. Vayishmu?
Vayishmeu Sarei Yehuda et advarim ha'ela vayalu mi Beit HaMelech Beit Hashem vayashvu bepetach shar Hashem hachadash.
You ever learn Masechet Sanhedrin? Got it? Dinei Nefashis, we need a Sanhedrin, don't we? So the Sanhedrin in the Beit HaMikdash is putting Yirmiyahu on trial. I'm trying to show you, it's not, Yirmiyahu is about to be killed by the established rabbinate. And they're sure he deserves to die. And listen what they're touching him with.
Vayamru hakohanim v'haneviim el hasarim ve'el kol ha'am lemor mishpat mavet leish hazeh ki niva el ha'ir hazot kasher shamatem be'oznechem.
Okay. Now, remember, who's putting Yirmiyahu on trial? His own colleagues. We'll read about them later on. The other Neviim and the Kohanim of the Beit HaMikdash. Remember, Yirmiyahu was a Kohen. He's also a Nevi. So his colleagues and his family members and his relatives, everyone is talking to the ministers in the government to put him on trial. Now, the ministers in the government, some of those ministers were ministers under Yoshiyahu. Yirmiyahu used to be chief rabbi. He was like a big Navi leading the whole, Yoshiyahu's whole reform. How can you put him now on trial? Don't take a high official like that and put him on trial. But now, so they're telling the certain we have to put him on trial. What he's done is treasonous. Okay. So one more line.
Vayomer Yirmiyah.
I'm sorry. He said Mishpat Mavet Lizazek because why? Because he made this prediction about the city, like you heard. They're not even going to repeat it. What was your question?
Oh no, I was just continuing to read.
Okay, so Vayomer Yirmiyahu.
Vayomer Yirmiyahu al kol hasarim ve'al kol ha'am lemor Hashem shalachni lihinaveh el habayit hazeh ve'el ha'ir hazot et kol dvarim asher shamatem. Bata.
I'm not an Navi Sheker. I'm not making it up. This is the real thing. Bata.
Bata hetivu drachechem u'malalechem v'shim'u b'kol Hashem Elohechem v'yinechem Hashem el hara asher diber alechem.
One more line.
V'ani hineni biyadchem asu li katov ve'kiyashar be'enechem.
And you should know if you kill me, okay, that'll be dam naki. They're saying, what do you call it? This guy deserves to die. In the end, someone's going to save Yirmiyahu and they'll sneak him out of there. Because the Shafan family is going to come and save him. If we have time, we'll read the rest of it in a minute. But I want to go back and tie this to Parshat Shavua real quick. Let me stop the share for a second. Later on, we won't have time. Maybe we'll start it today. There's some politics behind this as well. We're going to see that Yirmiyahu is going to be charged for treason for another reason as well. In the meantime, remember Yoshia went to battle against Paro Necho, who was on his way to battle the Babylonians in Carchemish. It turns out the Babylonians defeated Egypt in Carchemish, and they retreated back to Egypt. Now, and there's going to be this big argument in Israel now. Who's going to be the next superpower? Will it be Bavel, Egypt, or maybe us? We're all torn between this. In the meantime, Bavel is slowly becoming the big superpower, but it's only beginning. Most people either said, we don't want to align ourselves to anybody. We can be the next superpower, or let's go with Egypt. No one thought Bavel could be the next superpower. You know what, maybe I'll just jump ahead real fast to show you, because otherwise you can't understand what's happening here. Go to Perek Chafei, which happens to be right before Perek Chavav. And we have to do this in detail next time. But in Perek Chafei, there's another Nuvo of Yirmiyahu who's been giving him, and this is in the 4th year of Yehoiakim, which is also pretty much around the same time. And he tells him, I've been yelling you from year 13 of Yoshio till the 4th year of Yehoiakim, which is the last 23 years, and you haven't been listening. And what's God been saying? God's been telling all his Neviim to fix your ways. What's he been telling you? Pasuk fix your ways and improve your behavior, and then you can stay here. And you didn't listen. Okay. And then he says, because you haven't listened to me, here's your punishment. God's going to come and send all the families of the north with Nebuchadnezzar. And God's going to bring Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Bavel, on the land. And we'll go back to all these psukim later on. And here's the big line. Pasuk Yud Aleph. Vayta kol haaretz hazot lechurban l'shama, v'avdu gomelech melech Bavel 70 shana. So we're going to have to do Perek Chafei properly next week. But what I want to, my screen wasn't shared, was it? Oh, sorry about that. I'll look at it again. My mistake. Went there too fast. In Perek Chafei in Yirmiyahu, again, in the early year of Yehoiakim, in the 4th year, he says, I've been yelling you from year 13 of Yoshio until today, which is 23 years. I've been yelling, you haven't been listening. I said, oh, my prophets, you haven't listened to prove your ways. And now, for 23 years, you still don't get it. I have to do something drastic. Therefore, God says, I'm going to call now on Bavel to come and punish you. I'm calling Nebuchadnezzar by name. And he's going to come and destroy the land. And then, Bavel is going to be in charge now for the next 70 years. Now, I'm going to conclude 2 things. I'm going to make this point. We'll develop it next week, because that'll be the main topic of Yirmiyahu. I'm going to get to the big topic. So far, Yirmiyahu has been like every other Navi, the same old, left-wing message. Just like Yeshayahu and if you saw Yirmiyahu, just like Yeshayahu and Micha and Hosea. What's going to change now is Yirmiyahu is going to make a nevuah, which is almost unprecedented. He's saying, your punishment for your bad behavior is going to be, God's going to bring the Babylonians to take over your land. But you have a choice. You can either accept that fate, accept Babylonian rule, and stay in Yerushalayim. You can keep your temple, keep your city. The only thing you need to do to show God you understood your mistake and you want to fix your ways, all you need to do is accept Babylonian sovereignty. That's a given. God's saying, I made that decision. For the next 7 years, the Babylonians are in charge. Till then, nothing you can do about it. He doesn't say the temple is going to be destroyed for 70 years. He never says you're going to be in exile for 70 years. Yirmiyahu is trying to prevent the destruction. Yirmiyahu's big nevuah, it starts in chapter 25, which is going to turn the whole book around, and it's going to be unprecedented. And it's going to be the background for what they want to kill him. He's saying, in the name of God, accept Babylonian rule. He's not just making a prediction that the Babylonians are going to defeat the Assyrians or Egypt in some battle up in Carchemish. That happened already. He's telling them the Babylonians are going to come and fight you and take over the Middle East. They're going to take over Israel as well. When they come in, he says, don't fight them. Put up a white flag. Accept them. And if you accept Babylonian rule, then you can keep your temple, keep your land, and focus for the next 70 years on fixing your society. But no more sovereignty. If you don't accept that punishment, nothing you can do about it. And you can cry and pray to me from today to tomorrow, the Babylonians are there to stay. You've lost your sovereignty. Got it? That's why I brought the politics in before. But in a nutshell, what Yirmiyahu is saying, bottom line is, in the name of God, that you've lost your sovereignty. If you don't accept Babylonian rule, they're going to come and destroy your temple and kick you out, and you're finished. And you have to learn the hard way. It'll be really ugly. If you accept Babylonian rule, we'll prove this next week, you can stay in your land. There'll be chapters and chapters of this. And this is the background to studying the book. All of a sudden, a prophet who's all about left-wing social justice stuff is also getting involved in politics and telling the government, don't fight the Babylonians. Understand? Now, guess what all the political people are going to say, and all the right-wingers and all the nationalists, what are they going to say? We can take on the Babylonians. We're not going to give up our sovereignty, and we can make a coalition with Egypt. And the political mimsad, the establishment, as well as most of the rabbis, which I always call Rabbanei Yesha in the analogy, there's a whole group of very right-wing nationalistic rabbis who are telling the people, we can fight Bavel, and we're going to win, and God will be on our side, as long as you do what? As long as you pray harder, and come to the Mikdash and pray and daven and bring korbanot, and God will save us from Bavel, and we can win. And we need everyone fighting, and we'll get Egypt to help us as well. But yes, we can defeat the Babylonians. Yirmiyahu is coming and saying, no way. In the name of God, don't fight them. Now, that's going to be the main reason why all the rabbis are going to call Yirmiyahu Navi Sheker. You know why? You understand why? Because first and foremost, they want to fight the Babylonians. Their nationalism is more important to them than anything. And they think that we can fight the Babylonians, but to do that, you need a strong army. You need everyone behind it. You need the people united. If there's this rabbi going around saying, surrender to the Babylonians, the people aren't going to fight, and then we're going to lose. And we're going to see to the end of the book, the people are going to blame Yirmiyahu for the destruction of the temple. You understand why? Yirmiyahu is trying to prevent it, and they're going to claim, Yirmiyahu, you're being paid by the Babylonians. You're a traitor. They almost kill him. You understand? Make the prediction about the Mikdash being destroyed is more an excuse than the reason. We'll see the real reason they want Yirmiyahu dead is because he's telling them to give in to Bavel. It's an unprecedented nevuah, and they're sure that he's lying. And they're going to accuse him of being a Navi Sheker, and he can't prove himself until it's over. And he's like, he hates his job, and he hates what he's saying. He doesn't want to say what he's saying. He's not saying you always have to be, a pacifist. He's saying, in this case, that's God's message. His colleagues don't accept it. Got it? And that's why they want to kill him. And that's why Perach Hav Hey precedes Perach Hav Vav. Understand? Perach Hav is when they want to kill the guy. and he has to run. He's going to be in hiding, and the rest, and he's going to be in hiding, and he's going to write his prophecies and send them with his with the shaliach, with this guy Ben Baruch Ben Neriah. But they're going to be searching for him, and they want him. Yoakim wants him dead, and Yoakim and Yirmiyahu wants to quit, and God won't let him quit. But God protects him. But he's in hiding, and he hates his job, hates what he's saying, but he has to do it. But that once Yirmiyahu's prophecies become political, that changes the whole book around. And that if you don't understand that, you won't understand the rest of the book of Yirmiyahu. That's like the key point. And
can I just ask, when they blame him in Perik?
Yeah? You had a question, somebody?
I just wanted to ask in Perik Avav, they blame him for saying that the Beit HaMikdash can be destroyed. They don't blame him for saying at least what they officially say is they're blaming him for this nivuah, not for the nivuah that they have to give into Shul.
Yeah. So I'm saying there's a reason and there's an excuse. We'll have to explain why. They don't agree with either of them, but it's easier to try somebody on something they can catch them on. You follow?
You're understanding that
from they can't saying the Babylonians are going to win a battle doesn't make you a Navi Sheker. They don't like that nevuah. They won't accept that nevuah. And therefore, they want to try him on something they can catch him on. And saying the temple could be destroyed, that's heretical. It's like saying, but let's say there's a left-wing rabbi.
I'm just saying you're understanding it in the text.
Let's say there's a left-wing rabbi that you don't like. But you're allowed to say left-wing things. So what do? Oh, you said women can be rabbis. Oh, you're puzzled. You follow? They're going to catch him on something else. They're going to catch him on something that everyone agrees on. So they won't listen to his political opinions. They want.
Is there a hint to that in the text, or is it just logical?
Yeah. We see it all inside. They're going to try to delegitimize him for a religious reason, but they're all relying their motivation is going to be political. That we'll have to prove. It's just so much fun. It's like it's so easy. It's so much fun to say. And again, don't get me wrong. I'm just using analogies from today to help understand the tension going on. But once you understand this background, it'll explain the whole book. That's why I like teaching it so much. A second, turn this off. A second. What was I telling you? So let me I want to tie this to Parshat Shavua now for a minute. Go back. Again, we have tons more to do in Yirmiyahu. What's going to save Yirmiyahu, but we'll see next week. We'll do Perak. If you have time, you can read Perak Lamed Vav for a background. And so basically, we have to read Perak Lamed Vav and do everything from Perak Chav Hey to Perak Chav Tet. And also what's going on. If you have time, if not, we'll do it together. But it'll be a lot of, it's like really interesting. And without this background, Yirmiyahu is just a bunch of, random prakim. Once you understand this, we'll put the whole book together. I'll explain how it's organized and what happened and why he's hated and why he hates his job and how depressing he is, how depressing his life is. Now back to Parshat Shavua. This idea that God didn't choose us to bring him korbanot, but that the main part of Brit Sinai is the society we build. Just open up your Chumashim, look at the last line of the book, last line of Sefer Vayikra. I'll try to keep this short. I know it's just a 2-hour share. I'll just give you the summary. Open up Sefer Vayikra to the last line. I'll use this Navi, it's good. Remember, we saw in Yirmiyahu, I didn't command you, O Divrei Elav Zabach, but of Shimu B'Kolim. So look at wrong book. Look in Sefer, the last line of Sefer Vayikra. Why does it look like a summary of the book? You see the last line? Wait, am I sharing my screen? I'm not sharing my screen, am I? No, let's get my screen. There we go. Share screen and chapter 27. You see the last line of the book? It sounds like a summary of a book, but it's too easy. It's also Har Sinai. The book began in Ol Moed. The problem with this pasuk is, this whole unit began. Look at the first line of paragraph of chapter 27. God tells Moshe Rabbeinu, these are laws of Erchin. Means these are laws of someone dedicates or donates himself to God or another person. If you make a neder based on a human value, so if you give yourself, if you give your mail, if you dedicate your wife, your kids, whatever it might be, so there's a whole set of laws. The main thing we learn from here, this is a joke, is that men are worth more than women. That's just a joke, though. It's just the value of the person in the slave market. Now, look at the end of chapter 26, which is the end of the Tochacha, which is a totally different idea. Look at the last line there. Also summary. Elu achukim ha-mishpatim va-torot asher natan Hashem beino ben Yisrael b'Har Sinai b'yad Moshe. See that line? These are chukim ha-mishpatim and Torot which God gave Moshe beino ben Yisrael b'Har Sinai b'yad Moshe. So this has more than just mitzvot. This has chukim mishpatim and Torot. But the phrase here, which is unique, is Asher Natan Hashem Beino Vein Bnei Yisrael Har Sinai. Where's that phrase coming from? Beino Ubein.
Brit.
It's with every Brit. We had it at Brit Keshet, the Rainbow Covenant, was Beinu Ben Haaretz. Remember with Noach. A Brit Milah, remember Ve'kemote Briti Beinu Beinecha Ben Zaracha Acharecha. And we talked about when back in Chumash class, we went from Brit Keshet to Brit Milah to Brit Sinai. We have it at Brit Sinai. We have, remember, Shabbat is an Ot Brit. Shabbat is Ot Beinu Ben B'Nis Oti L'Olam. And that's the covenant. That's the main covenant between God and His people. And the question is, what's it summarizing? So Rashi says it's summarizing. Rashi's midrashic, the Torah distortion, B'Ktav and Torah Shavapeh. But Ibn Ezra claims that it's summarizing not just Parshat Bahar, B'chukotai, but also Parshat Yitro and Mishpatim. He's taking all the Parshiot at Har Sinai, Yitro Mishpatim is Brit Sinai, and Parshat Bahar B'chukotai is Brit Sinai. So he says this is summarizing not just Perach Chavei and Chavav of Sefer Vayikra, but also Parshat Yitro and Mishpatim, because remember in Parshat Mishpatim in Gurul 24/7, after we get the laws on Parshat Mishpatim, Moshe takes Sefer Abrit and reads it, and they say Nasa B'Nishma. So they hold this whole Tochacha comes together with Yitro Mishpatim. Now, just a couple lines here. Remember, God says, if you follow my laws, we said this before. I'll give you, you'll defeat your enemies. Remember, V'freiti etchem, v'breiti etchem, and then you be my God, I'll be your people. And that's why I took you out of Egypt. And if you don't listen to me, whammo. So it's something covenantal here. But this unit doesn't stop here, doesn't begin here. It begins in chapter 25 with the famous Dibor Bahar Sinai, the laws of Shemitah and Yovel. But what's most important, after the laws of Shemitah and Yovel, which I'm sure you're familiar with, it says, because of Yovel, don't take advantage of this. Okay? When you sell real estate to somebody else, don't cheat your fellow man. And don't, remember, because everything you're selling is only no more than a 49-year lease. You sell land based on the years of the Yovel, not on its absolute value. If you roll Rishonim Tabeh, God understand? It's telling you, don't take advantage that you know the laws of Yovel and rip someone off in a real estate deal. Because you're going to, let's say it's 8 years, 10 years to Yovel. So you sell a piece of land and 10 years you'll get it back and you rip them off. Therefore, don't take below tonu ishat etamito, and then keep my chukim mishpatim. We'll see. These are laws of. We'll see where they're coming from, and the land will give its fruit. Then there's going to be all these applications of these laws. Kiamuch achicha. See the word ach. It comes up like 11 times, I think, in this unit. Should your brother become poor? Got it? And sell his nachala. What do you have to do? You have to help him buy it back. You have to mortgage his property, buy it back. And if he has to sell a home, buy it back. And then kiamuch achicha, and he's taken over by a stranger who buys him. And he needs money to buy himself back. Lend him money and don't take interest. Got it? And kiamuch achicha, and he becomes mamish an evet to somebody else. Right? You have to buy him back so he's free. And it goes on and on, but basically it's applying all these laws. Remember, Kili b'nei Savadim, you're working for me and not working for somebody else. And therefore, every Jew has to be free to serve God and try to limit slavery in an indenture, whatever it's called, as much as possible. And then we have the Tochacha. But these are the last set of laws that are part of Har Sinai and the Brit Sinai. It's not just a technical law of keeping Shemitah every 7 years, but it's a law about applying the laws of Shemitah to a just society. Now, what I want to claim is, at the end of chapter 26, that it's really summarizing the entire book, almost the entire book. At the end of chapter 26, remember that law? There's Chukim Mishpatim in Torot. What I want to show you is the first half of Sefer Vayikra or Torot, and the second half of Chukim Mishpatim. I think we did this in Parsha class, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just a review. Now, we starting in chapter 6. I'll just review that share. Starting in Parshat Tzav, there's all these Torot. Remember the Torah of Olah, Mincha, Shlamim, all that stuff? And everything basically from chapter 6, chapter 7, excluding the narrative section, chapters 8, 9, and 10 about the 7 days of Milui and Yom HaShmini, but all the law sections, that's chapter 7 and 6 and 7, and then chapter 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, and probably 16, which is Avodat Yom Kippur, those are all Torot of how to serve God in the Mikdash. And then starting in chapter 18, we have the Chukim Mishpatim, and all through chapters 18 through here are going to be Chukim Mishpatim, but the main one's going to be Kedoshim Tiyu. And Kedoshim Tiyu for sure is the 10 Commandments. We did that share, didn't we? And applying the covenant of Har Sinai to day-to-day life. So what God is saying is that these are the laws, these are the covenantal laws. In Sefer Vayikra, there's Torah of how to serve God in the Mikdash, and Chukim Mishpatim, how you serve God outside the Mikdash. And primarily Kedoshim Tiyu, how you should behave, how you shouldn't behave, the Arayot. And then these laws, applying them to Brit Sinai, with Shemitah and Yova.
Aren't the Chagim in Parashat Emor?
The Chagim also, so you bring something symbolic to the Beit HaMikdash, but remember all the Shlosh Rogim to remember that, I'll go back, I'll just show you the line we made a big deal about. In Parshat Chog, in chapter 23, you have all these laws about the land, and the Omer and the Shtei Lechem, and after we get to the Shtei Lechem on Shavuot, remember, we call it Bikur Kol Shtei Lechem, and then we have if you want God to bless your produce, God is not judging you of your produce during your grain harvest and later your fruit harvest based on your prayers and counting Omer, but you're counting Omer to remember that God judges you based on your deeds. Just remember what we said, what was revolutionary about the religion we saw also in Parshat Mishpatim, that as opposed to most religions where you believe in a God and God has powers, but the way you get God's powers on your side is by sacrifice and prayer. In Judaism, you pray to God to remember that indeed there's one God who's in charge of all these things, but he judges you based on your behavior. And that's a revolution in religion. That you believe in God and God's in power of all these things, but the way that God judges you is not by the way you feed him, but by the way you behave. And that's exactly what Yirmiyahu was screaming. I took you out of Egypt not to bring Olav v'Zavach. Now, why did I mention this for the end of the book? The Torah and Chukim Mishpatim start in Parshat Tzav and end in Perek Havav. What's missing from the summary? Chapters 1 through 5 and chapter 27. What do they have in common, especially chapters 1 through 3? That's Korban Nedava. Remember the first topic of Vayikra, the first 3 chapters? That's Divrei Olav v'Zavach. If you want to come visit God, come whenever you want. Don't come empty-handed. You can bring an animal, you can bring an olah, you can bring flour, mincha, you can bring a shlamim even. That's up to you. You don't have to. If you want to, you can. But you're not coming to feed God, you're coming to visit God, but don't come empty-handed. You have a choice of what to bring. The end of the book is also voluntary. You want to give your value to God, that's fine. And if someone wants to do a symbolic act, a ritual act, to remember their connection to God, to come close to God, to remember why they're chosen and how they serve God once they're chosen, that's wonderful. For that, you have a mikdash. But that's outside. That's the envelope around the book. That's extra. At the core of the book are the chukim mishpatim about how to behave. And therefore, dafka by putting Toshim Tiyu smack in the middle of Sefer Vayikra, the book that talks about all these rituals and how to serve God in the mikdash, by putting all the chukim mishpatim in the same book, about behavior that's coming to emphasize that same point. So even in the book of what's called Torah Konim, the book of Vayikra, which is ending, which seems to be primarily about rituals in the temple and bringing God sacrifices and serving Him in the temple, the way Sefer Vayikra is organized and presented is putting Toshim Tiyu smack in the middle, and the main Brit at Sinai is serving God by the way we behave as a nation. We have to remember that all the time, and you need to come and remember your connection to God. But again, what Yirmiyahu was screaming is God didn't choose you to feed Him. And He didn't choose you because He's not someone to pray to Him. He needs a nation that's going to make His name known. That's why Yirmiyahu was saying, God's name is associated with this temple. Therefore, the way you behave in the temple and the way you behave outside the temple is an own thing. There's the way you behave outside the temple. Remember, if you're outside the temple and doing the second half of the Ten Commandments, and then you come to the temple, it's you don't come at all. And we're going to see God's stuff. Remember, we talked about in the beginning, the worst times of our punishment from God are when we're the most religious in the technical sense, in the ritual sense. Chizkiel does this big tshuva, and Yoshiel does the big tshuva, and right afterwards is when the worst punishment comes. Why? Because they're religious and they're doing all the rituals, but they're not keeping the right society. And God says you're doing more harm than good, because if you don't recognize God and don't pray to God and don't say you're God's people and you're rotten, you're like everybody else. But if you claim to be God's people and you associate God's name with your name, and He becomes your God and you're God's people, and you act that way and you act poorly, that makes God look bad. And God says, I can't tolerate that. I have to punish you harshly. And we'll see punishment is much harsher when the more religious we are, the harder the punishment will be for bad behavior. That we'll see in Yirmiyahu. We saw the similar idea in Yeshayahu, but we see the same happening with Yirmiyahu. And again, it doesn't make that much sense, but if you know Jewish history and history of religion, it's an age-old problem to this day in religion, where you need the ritual. Without that, you don't have religion. But when your overall education and understanding is God's working for you, and there's this magic out of the sky, say these magic words, or do these magic actions, or do these mystical things, and God will get on your side. And where we call what's that machine called that you put money in? You get the vending machine, the good old vending machine. God. That misunderstanding leads to disasters all the time. On the other hand, without that understanding at a young age, you can't teach religion, because little kids don't understand that. And when you get old, when you say, "Oh, I can just be a good person," and you don't keep any mitzvot, and everything falls apart. The balance between the two, that's our challenge in Jewish education all the time. So again, Yirmiyahu is simply great. There's so much fun in it because it's got the politics and the religion and the morals behind it. But we have a lot more to see inside, but our time's way up. We got to get moving. But thanks so much. And if you have time, you can read. Again, there's so much more to do in the book. We only have like 2 or 3 weeks to get Yirmiyahu covered. I want to do things that relate to Mamad Har Sinai and Parshat Shavua as well. Any other questions?
One small question.
Yeah, sure.
Just one. How is the beginning of Parshat I understand for the Shalosh Regalim or the holidays? How's the beginning of Parshat Chukim Mishpatim?
I'll show you, because Parshat, everything of Vayikra is based on Mishpatim. I'll show you. Let me go back to Parshat Mishpatim. You know what? I have a better source sheet for this. 1 second. Let me see which one it's called. Just open up Perachab Gimel in Parshat Mishpatim. We have the Shosh Regalim for the first time, and you'll see Shemitah also there. Let me just.
No, not Shemitah, but the Kohen lo yitmaru kilu all the Tumah stuff and lo yichallelu et mikdashi.
No, it's putting the two in the same. You're right. Half the book is ritual inside, becoming to visit God, but juxtaposing it to the Chukim Mishpatim in the second half is what's important. I'm coming to the Beit HaMikdash to remember how to bathe outside the Mikdash.
Okay, maybe I'm just not getting the structure right. Because after Kiddushim,
there's 2 things. I know it's missing you up. I'm saying the outside envelope is Nidava. That's for sure. I'm saying Nidava has to come is only after you have the inside right. The inside has 2 parts. How to serve, when you can visit God and coming to God in the Mikdash. But you're coming to God in the Mikdash to remember how to act when you leave the Mikdash. That's the second half. I have Torot to remember I'm God's people and why I'm chosen. and I have chukim mishpatim the second. I have to remember how to behave. And the main chukim mishpatim section is going to be kedoshim to you. But let me just show you in bifnei mishpatim. I think mishpatim bifnei. It's at Mitzrayim. I need a new one here. This one. Here we go. I have to show my screen again. Yes. This one it. Oh, perfect. Okay. I didn't share my screen. Share screen and PDF. Remember Parshat Mishpatim? We called the double whopper share. If we did that in Chumash, first God hears our cry in Egypt, hears the cry of the oppressed and comes and saves us. We leave Egypt and he gives us the Dibrot, and then the application laws in Parshat Mishpatim. They start with Ben Adam Lamakom, how to serve God, and then Ben B'Chaviro, the Mishpat stuff, which is Mishpat. And then in the transition, the second section is we call it Staka. Begins with the Gert Lo Toneh, remember why you were a slave in Egypt, and then all about good behavior and not being rotten. It ends with V'ger Lo Techatz, V'temidat V'nefesh Hager. That was the unit of V'ger Lo Toneh, V'ger Lo Techatz, V'ger Meitem Be'eretz Mitzrayim, and that was all ethical law. If you remember this year, fine. If not. Now, here's the big transition. After all that, we go back to Beinam Lamakom that has a Beinam Lachaber overtone. 6 years work the land, and the 7th year will be Shemitah. Why? V'chluya v'nei amecha. Shemitah for social reasons. Shabbat, like Shemitah, 6 days work, 7 days, 7-day rest, so that your workers have a day of rest. Got that? So that's connecting Beinam Lamakom and Beinam Lachabero. Shemitah and Shabbat connected, and that's why Chazal say the Klalim were in Har Sinai, Parshat Mishpatim. The Pratim were also in Har Sinai, Parshat Bahar. Understand what they mean? The Klal and Prat. So if they're all given in Har Sinai, the laws of Shemitah were given in general in Parshat Mishpatim, and they're detailed in Parshat Bahar. Then we say like this: B'chol hashamatchem tishameru. Keep all these things I just told you up above, all Parshat Mishpatim, all these laws of justice and righteousness. Okay? And don't dare mention names of other gods, the Canaanite gods, like the rain god, the fertility god, nature gods, grain gods and stuff. Instead, during the 3 times of the agricultural year, I want to see you I want you to come and visit me. That's Chag Aviv, remember Chag Katzir and Chag Asif. And during these 3 times a year, I want to see you in my house. Why? You need to remember that your agriculture is based on the one God and not these Canaanite gods. Ancient man thought that if I want rain, and I want fertility, and I want grain, I have to pray to the rain god and the grain god and the fertility gods, basically all the Canaanite gods. And they give me grain and rain and what I need based on my prayer. And Chumash tells you, no, there's one God, not many gods, and he's in charge of your agriculture, and you have to remember him during these critical times of the agricultural year. But you have to remember, based on what does he give you rain? Keep all the laws of Parshat Mishpatim, and then come to the Beit HaMikdash and remember what to pray for. As I'm about to begin my grain harvest in the Aviv, I need to remember that God gives me grain based on the laws of Leket Shicha and Peah. I have to remember that my fruit harvest will be based on what I do when I gather my fruit and how I live my society. That understanding, not only that there's one God, but he judges you based on your behavior. That's a transition of the Shlosh Regalim. And the details you get in Parshat Amor of how to what we do on the Shlosh Regalim. And we take things
But
from the
what
land.
about Prakim Kaf Aleph and Kaf Bet of Vayikra? How do they fit in the structure you described for Vayikra?
That's treating the Mikdash with respect. Kaf Aleph is how the Kohanim act outside the Mikdash. How you have to machabed them in their job outside the Mikdash. And the Mikdash, don't treat it like junk. Don't bring your garbage there. Don't take your lousy animals. Like when we have guests over, we take the lousy cake and leftover cake and give it to guests, and we leave the good stuff for ourselves. You understand? I'm joking, but you got the idea? So it says, don't bring your garbage animals to God and keep the good stuff for yourself. If you're going to go to God, bring him something nice.
According to what you're describing, it fits more with the first part than with the second one.
It's the main thing. I have to show you. Vayikra is concentric. Smack in the middle. There's a chiasm in Vayikra that puts Gershom to smack in the middle. I'm saying the Chukim Mishpatim, which is primarily which centers around Kedoshim to you. That's the center of the book. And you're right, there's ritual stuff at the end of the book also, but the ritual stuff at the end of the book is applying the first half of the book to the second half of the book. When I come to the Mikdash to bring my korbanot and bringing Omer during the Shosh Regalim reminds me of the man story earlier. Bringing Shtei Lechem reminds me of what I do with my lechem. Bringing and all these little one-liners are going to be there to remind you of the theme of the holiday. And in Sukkot, you have to remember why God put you through the whole desert experience. So we have to do Parshat Emor more in detail to see that. But Emor is not about just the korbanot you bring. It's the theme of the holiday, and the things we're bringing are from the land to the Mikdash. But we're talking about what they symbolize, what they represent, what they're supposed to remind you of. My main point is that the core of the book will be Kedoshim to you. And it's surrounded by if I have time, I would show you that all Vayikra is concentric. There's something smacking everything's pointing to Kedoshim to you in the middle, which is the main part of Brit Sinai. Okay? So we'll stop here and let's stop the share there. Yeah, it's almost Shabbos. I gotta get the stuff. I gotta get ready for the holy day, even though it starts late already. There's a whole thing this week for Rabbi Riskin, I think, or it's next week. There's a whole day of shiurim for Rabbi Riskin, and what is it? Maybe it's Erev Shavuot. I'm sure they're gonna advertise it for you guys. Maybe it's next week. And are they doing something for Yom Yerushalayim? I think it'll probably be on Thursday or Friday. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're doing it on Thursday.
Okay, so we'll take away from Shir next week. All right, so have a good Shabbos, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shabbat
Shabbos,
shalom.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good Shabbos.